Hello and welcome to episode 1475 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It's Friday, February 13th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing?
Not too bad. We're talking outfielders again, and we were once again blessed with an outfielder move. It is similar to yesterday's Nick Castellanos move, well lower in the rankings than we currently are, but I still think it's worth just bringing up now because I was a little bit surprised by this move. Jesus Sanchez going to the Jays from the Astros for Joey Loperfido, a guy they already had. So the Astros are bringing back Loperfido. I I like Jesus Sanchez. I still think there's like
I did
a
too.
real season there, and I kind of thought it would come from for Houston this year for them. I like him in Toronto still. Loperfido's the one I want to focus on first, so we'll go back to Sanchez. We both like him. How do you feel when someone gets a guy back? Does that do anything for you? Should it do anything for us?
Um, it doesn't do anything massive for me. It definitely like there is a little bit of me. It's like, hey, they clearly like this guy if they're reacquiring him.
Right.
Um, you know, but like I don't know that it necessarily go like I don't know if like I start going, oh man, look, Loperfido's going to be a stud or gonna have a breakout here. Like I do think it is interesting, especially because Loperfido goes from probably not being in the starting lineup in Toronto at
To a
all
full-time player.
to yeah, I mean strong side of platoon in left field.
We've talked a lot about their issues with the outfield this year. Like we've hit on
They still
Houston's
need they
outfield
still need
issues.
Nick Castellanos in that outfield.
Right. They could still. That's where you placed him yesterday. I loved that. I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. And I totally agree with you that they should still be considering it.
Yeah. The interesting part for me is like he's not a very good defender. I don't think
Who?
he's
Loperfido?
Loperfido. So
Okay.
like maybe they wouldn't want to get Castellanos because then it would put two kind of bad defenders in the corners.
True.
So like you got Myers is a good defender in center.
Yeah, that's the thing. They do have a legit center fielder with Jake Myers. And then, it's open on the corners right now with Zach Cole and now Loperfido as the two guys there. Cam Smith is on the outside looking in still. This trade
It's kind
doesn't
of
change
crushes.
anything.
No, it kind of crushes Cam Smith's chance of making a roster, right? Because you're not keeping Cam Smith in the majors to be a short side platoon bat at his
Well,
age.
we already thought that before with Sanchez. So that's why I said it doesn't
Oh,
really
that's true. Yeah, you're right.
because we had that same combo. Like, shouldn't he be batting every day at AAA versus being a bench bat? And I think we both agree that yes, he should be because like I think you're wasting him, or not wasting, but like you could be stunting his development
Hmm.
if you don't have Cam Smith playing dailies. But right now we do have him on the bench. We'll see how spring goes. I'm still wondering if he can beat out Zach Cole or something, but we'll see. Sanchez, again, we both quite like Sanchez. Now going to Toronto, are we still on for the potential breakout that we've been trying to hint at the last few years? It's kind of been bubbling under the surface, sort of. Might just be who he is, but might be another level. Where you at with Jesus Sanchez?
I mean, you gotta love this move for Sanchez. That Blue Jays lineup is pretty fun, and I mean he'll still probably platoon with Miles Straw, or Davis Schneider, but I think he's gonna play, on the strong side of that platoon, left field, middle of that pretty good Blue Jays lineup. Them losing Santander
Dude,
this is clearly what precipitated this move. Um, I like it for Sanchez. The X home run is actually higher in Toronto because
oh, interesting.
I think because so much of the time was spent in Miami last year.
Oh, great point. Yes, yes, yes. He did not
So
spend that much time in Houston. Yeah, because a full year in Houston wouldn't have been bad for
and he
Sanchez,
was
and that's what I
and
was
Sanchez
liking.
wasn't very good in Houston, if I'm remembering
No,
correctly. So
post trade he wasn't, and I never crush guys too much for a bad
yeah,
post trade. It's such a hard thing, but yeah, he was wretched. 69 OPS plus for Sanchez after the trade.
yeah. So I'm definitely still intrigued. The problem with a move like this is, especially when it happens at this time of year, is the price is going to go up.
For sure.
I don't see the price going down for Sanchez after this move. So
No, it's going to create more attention, even if just to take a second look at him, even if it moves it up a little bit. But
yeah,
I agree with you. It will move Jesus Sanchez up. He's currently pretty affordable, though, at pick 336. He could go up a couple rounds. That's inside, just at, pick 300 or a little bit inside. Let's say he gets crazy. Let's say he get really wild with it and he goes to like 275. That puts him in the Ryan O'Hearn, Willie Castro, TJ Friedel area. I don't mind that for Jesus Sanchez. He can live there.
I don't mind that either. I mean, I think at that point you're just kind of picking the player that best fits your team.
Right. And I don't even think he'll go that high. I'm just saying if he skyrockets, that would be a big jump from 335, 336. So I think it's more maybe pick 300, a couple rounds there for Sanchez. I'll still pay that and be happy.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into outfield rankings. We're going to shift it up a little bit because I was going through Jeff's tiers and they're really, I mean, they're fine. It's a great article, but he got this one giant one that really threw me off in the middle here. This balanced second division bat, pick your poison tier. It's 29 players. And it ranges from outfielder 18 to 113. So it's a really vast group. So what we're doing here after yesterday's episode, I'm going to his composite rankings, his 1 to 120.
740.
We're going to go 1 to 120, and we're just going to start going with that, and I'm going to break them off into little groups. So they're not going to be as related skill-wise or whatever, but they're going to just be in Jeff's ranking order here as opposed to the tiers. So we got group 2 now. We talked PCA yesterday. And he is in his top 10 overall at 9. This next guy that we're going to cover first, Kyle Schwarber, will finish the top 10, which was Judge, Soto, J-Rod, Tucker, Tatis, Acuna, Chorio, Kyle Schwarber, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Corbin Carroll. So that was his top 10. We start with Schwarber here. Brent Rooker, James Wood, Wyatt Langford, Jordan Alvarez, and Byron Buxton. This is our group here. Kyle Schwarber. He keeps getting it done, Justin, as the classic 3 true outcome guy. He's even mixed in a couple of double-digit steals years, the last 2 of the last 4, including 10 last year. 5 and 0 in those other 2, so not necessarily bankable. But one of the premier power players that we have, aging beautifully. The batting average doesn't even kill you. I'm not even sure it totally killed folks when he had 197 in 2023 because he had 47 homers with 100. Is Schwarber one of the most bankable assets going right now? Do you have any concerns that he'll deliver anything but 40, 100, 100, 240?
I mean, I think the only one that I'm concerned about is the 240. I mean, he does have 2 seasons in 2022 and 2023 where the BABIP was low and the batting average was low as a result. So we want to just kind of be very careful, and most of the projection systems have him at between 220 and 235, something like that. So I think we want to be careful to reproject the 240 again. Now that being said, his XBA was actually 251 last year, and while he has never been a very good zone contact guy, he does have just an amazing eye at the plate. So I do think that, he could kind of just repeat what he did last year, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I think I'm going to project like a 230 batting average or maybe like a 235 batting average. And if I get above that, I'll be happy. But I mean, this is very Cal Raleigh-esque, right? Where where you go, hey, you're going to get a lot of category juice. That's going to be really, really good, but you need to be careful about your batting average if you're going to take Kyle Schwarber this early.
No, I think you really absolutely need to. And you know how I feel about planning for, I usually talk about the average only guys. I want to plan for them. It works the other way here. If I am going to get a Schwarber plan going, then maybe I am looking at somebody like Luis Ariz or maybe not him because I don't like that player type, but like a Nico Horner more, who is like average forward and speed, but then it's really light in the power there. Schwarber goes great with guys like that, and I do think it makes sense to iron out a plan there. He is just so great with the power. You take the average risk, you hope for a 240, and maybe you get lucky and he runs hot with like a 266 like he did in 2021. That's a long time ago. He hasn't been above 248 since. You're probably not going to get that. And you could get the sub 200, but the power is just too rich to avoid. I like Schwarber. I don't mind him at his price point. I don't take him all the time, but I'm open to it.
Yeah, and it's not just the home runs. I mean, he's been 100 in runs and RBIs each
That's
of the last
golden.
3 seasons. And last year, 132 is insane.
And only 6 ribbies off of 4 straight
Yeah.
seasons doing that. So
Yep.
the runs have been there 4 years in a row. You mentioned the ribbies going to 132 last year with 56 bombs. We keep talking 40 bombs. He went to 56 last year. We're not projecting 50, but you wouldn't even be surprised to catch another 50. He's just so bankable
Yeah.
with that
But
power.
I mean, I think you can somewhat comfortably project like 45. I mean, he's been 46 or above in 3 of the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, I think that is where the projection can easily be with Kyle Schwarber. If you don't get Schwarber, you can jump down a level here, get a much better batting average in exchange for runs, ribbies, and home runs. But Brent Rooker is not a bad consolation here if you don't get Schwarber. Again, it's just as straightforward as that, where all the counting categories come up, but the average potential skyrockets. He hit 262 last year, 293 the year before, 246 the year before that. So he's not even, completely out of the woods of a bad batting average or a mediocre batting average himself for Rooker. But the last 2 years have shown that he's become a more complete hitter. I love the transformation of Brent Rooker. I got no problem taking him here. Schwarber is up at pick. Let's see here. Where is Schwarber? Is he only 10 sub 20 game outfield eligible?
Yeah.
Oh, he's util only. Sorry about that. So 27 over ADP for him, and then 52 for Rooker. I feel like that's a pretty good discount. Again, you're not getting the exact same thing, but if you like that sort of mega power guy, you miss out on Schwarber. Getting Rooker that many picks later at pick 52, 53 is not bad, right?
Before you get too deep into Rooker, we do have a question in the chat real quick about the Schwarber and being util only in NFBC, but also in every format other than the 5 game, right? That because he only played 8 games in the outfield. So even Yahoo, where 10 game eligibility starts the season, Schwarber is not going to be eligible in the outfield. Does that change anything for you? Because it doesn't change much for me.
No, I'm not afraid to take an early util. Yeah. When their guys have been this good, I've never shied away from Ohtani, JD Martinez when he had it, Schwarber,
Nelson Cruz. Yeah,
Cruz. No, that does not worry me. I think that's overblown. I lose a little flexibility later in the draft. I don't care. So no, it doesn't. Good question though. Very good question, and we'll bring it up again with
because I think
Alvarez.
those guys often get overlooked a little bit or busted down in certain, especially in your Yahoos, your ESPNs and stuff like that, because people don't want to clog up that util spot. And I think you're just giving up value. If you
totally agree. That's what kept Poppy so cheap for years.
Yeah, absolutely. Nelson Cruz and David Ortiz, both were undervalued for years because people didn't want to. Now, I don't think that's people aren't as concerned about it as they used to be.
People learned from it. Like Schwarber's ADP shows that people have learned. He could probably still be higher than 27, but a decade ago, he'd have been 50. Pick 50.
Absolutely.
So, but great question there. 8 game eligibility for him, only 15 game eligibility for Jordan Alvarez. We'll get to him in a moment. Back to Rooker. Again, has transformed himself into one of the better hitters in the game. Still in the minor league park, too, so you got to feel like we're getting more of the same with the nice batting average. And plus, he hit 293. That was in Oakland. So even in the Coliseum, he showed he could hit for a big average. Do you have any issues with Rooker? I love him at 52. I think he's damn near a steal there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I haven't been the biggest Rooker guys in the past, but he's actually just gotten better and better in the underlying skills over the course of the last few years. I mean, this was a guy who pretty much for his entire career in the minors and in the majors was a sub 80% zone contact guy. Well, the last 2 years, he's been 82% and better. So, and then the O swing has gone down too last year, right? O swing went down 4 percentage points from 30.5 to about 26.5%, while, improving the zone swing rate. So he's making more contact within the zone, but also being more aggressive in the zone. So I don't know if he had an eye surgery or something like that. Did he get LASIK?
I don't know. Maybe.
Usually we don't see a guy of this age make these kind of core skill changes. But he's also extremely smart. If you've never followed Brent Rooker on social media, whether Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever, he is really, really smart. And really understands the game of baseball. He's also really snarky, which I love too. But
Yeah,
like,
when people ask him dumb shit, he's not
yeah,
afraid to let them know it's dumb.
yeah. Or when people jump in his DMs, oh, you cost me this parlay. And he's like, I
Yeah.
don't give a
I
fuck,
couldn't give a single shit less, you dweeb. And
Yeah,
they deserve to be
exactly.
called the carpet for that. But no,
Yeah.
he's been, like, again, the way he's transformed himself, like you said, late, late relative in his career, 29, 30, to change your plate skills like that, to really fundamentally change who you are as a hitter and become one of the premier middle lineup hitters in the league. It's just been so awesome to see with Rooker. He was a short side platoon guy with Minnesota,
Mhm.
remember? Where you're like, oh, you
Well,
can get
he
some
was a
bombs out
top
of him
he was a
against
top
lefties.
prospect who got like broke his leg or something like that, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah, I remember him being a top 100,
yeah.
and then he kind of faded in, like I said, to short side platoon. I forgot or just didn't remember about the broken leg.
He had like I think it was a broken leg, or it was some sort of major injury that like
Right.
cost him a serious amount of time. It may not have been a leg, it may have been something else. But like, and then by the time he was back up and playing in the minors, other guys had leapfrogged him within the system, and he was kind of relegated to this short side platoon role. And getting to Oakland and now Sacramento has been just game changing for his career. He's now got the
Completely.
long term contract. I think the power will tick back up a little bit. He only hit 30 home runs last year after hitting 39 in Oakland. I think we could get back closer to that 39 number. I wouldn't project that many per se, but I'd probably project like 33 and then be really, really happy when I got 39, 40 home runs, because I think in that park he should be able to do that.
A little bit of improvement from that lineup too. Maybe he can get to 100
I,
100. It was
I
92
honestly,
89
yeah, I was
last year.
literally about to say that too. Like the Oakland is getting better, or the A's. God damn it.
Athletics.
This is just gonna get worse when they move to Vegas.
I
Right?
know. I
But
know.
yeah, the Athletics are getting better as a team overall, and so yeah, the runs and RBI should be up there. The only thing I don't see massive growth for is probably the batting average. I think he is probably a natural 260 hitter, which is fine because that's better than it was earlier on in his career. But that 293 we saw in 2024
Crazy
for Brent
BABIP.
Rooker, which is crazy BABIP, 362 BABIP.
Yeah.
His XBA was 263. So like, I do think he's like a natural 260 kind of hitter.
Agreed. And again, pick 52. I will take that all day, folks. That is a great power asset with batting average to get at that pick 50 area with Brent Rooker. Let's go to James Wood. Interesting year for him. I put maybe a little bit of scare quotes around interesting because there were some scares there. 221 strikeouts led baseball, but 31-15 with 94 ribbies, 87 runs. It's hard to go too hard at James Wood. He still ended up delivering. Where do we go from here, though? Seeing the strikeout rate tick up. He also has the situation, I hesitate to call it a situation, but where he's like a opposite field power guy, which is one of the greatest assets you can have. But he's been slow to get into his pull power. I think he started to see a bit more of it last year with James Wood. But are we still just dealing with maybe a not fully, I don't want to say blank, but like a not a completely filled in canvas here? And that's why we're seeing some of these ebbs and flows. Is this just classic prospect growth isn't linear with James Wood? Or is there something to worry about with the huge strikeouts last year?
All right, I'm going to make a comp that I hope you appreciate.
Okay.
I think James Wood is a young Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, I love that. I mean,
Yeah, like
with the way he's already taking the walks.
Yeah, he is a double-digit walk rate guy. I mean, who had like some really massive walk rates in the minor leagues, 17% in 2024.
Yeah,
in AAA.
they didn't want anything to do with him.
And he's got that legit type of power. Like, let me pull up his Statcast page for the people who are watching live here on the YouTube. And don't forget, go subscribe to the YouTube. Look at that. I mean, how beautiful
Just bloody.
is that? But like, it also like, look at the fielding value, right? Like, he is a bad fielder. He's going to strike out and he's going to whiff too much, but he also walks a ton. He's got a really good understanding of the strike zone. And when he finds his pitch, he is going to destroy it.
Yes.
So like, I do think that this is a Kyle Schwarber-esque profile, but when we say that type of thing, we have to look at the batting average and go, I don't know if 256 is sustainable long-term here. I think there are going to be massive dips in that batting average at times. It may not be to the point of Schwarber's, like 197 type seasons, but like I think he's gonna be one of these guys year to year that James Wood will. Hey, 1 year is gonna hit 250, 1 year he's gonna hit 220, then he might hit 240. Like it's gonna be really hard to predict the batting average. So I do think that if you draft a James Wood type of player, you want to pair him with that Nico Horner type that we were talking about before.
Okay, I think that's totally okay with regards to James Wood. With that instability in the average, does that give you any pause on James Wood's 37 ADP, or is that something that you're willing to take on because the upside
Totally
is so
fine with it.
rich in his talent? Okay, that's what I figured. Just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page there.
And as Andrew in the I believe his name is Andrew in the chat is saying, and he steals.
Yeah, he's fast. He's fast.
He's
Kyle
not.
Schwarber.
He's not
Faster.
He's not. Yeah, he's faster. He's definitely faster. He's not a fast guy, and I do think like for your dynasty leagues, keeper leagues, as he ages, he will lose a lot of that speed.
Agreed.
It won't. I don't think it'll go down to zero or anything like that. But I think he'll be more like a low single or a high single digits, low double digits kind of totals. But I do see a season coming from James Wood at some point where he hits like 50 bombs, and that could be this year.
Yeah, and this is, you're paying for that with the 37. It doesn't mean you're getting it, but that is where the 37 ADP and like where these high ADPs for these young guys come from. I understand that people realize this, they realize the idea of upside, but sometimes crystallizing it really, at least when I used to be a little way averse to buying on these youngsters that hadn't really fully done it yet, right? Waiting to see them fully emerge, have that first big season, then I'll buy in. Obviously, you can't really do that anymore. You got to be ready to move on guys that have these growth profiles. But yeah, if you're looking at James Wood and you say, well, that wasn't a top 37 pick season last year. First off, you might be wrong. 31, 15, 94,
you probably
87
were,
with the 256. That might actually be. But let's just say you're right. Again, you are paying for the fact that he could go 50-20 and nobody would blink. It wouldn't even be like the breakout of the year. It would be like, hey, James Wood arrived like we thought he could, and here he is now. So I just want to underscore that sometimes.
He was the 34th hitter on the player rater.
There you go. So maybe not 34, not 37 overall, but like damn close.
Yeah.
Just last year with a season that kind of disappointed, right? Because didn't he also have a bad lull? Was he a bad second half guy as well?
I think he was a bad second half guy.
690 OPS down from 915 in the first
only
half.
Only had 7 home runs in the second
so
half. So
even with that, he was still the 34th hitter for James
So that
Wood.
tells you, though, like that batting average, like fluctuation right there, like he's going to have ups and downs. So those of you who play in head-to-head leagues, right, like he may not be the guy you want to invest in that highly.
That's exactly what these K rates do, folks. When we say it breeds volatility, go look at Ellie and James Wood's second half last year. All right, let's go to this guy. Maybe you pivot, because I know a lot of people, he hasn't put it up yet, but I know a lot of people think that Wyatt Langford's average potential is much higher than somebody like James Wood. You might dispute that, and I'd be interested to hear what you think. But when I hear these two discussed, because they go near each other, James Wood goes pick 37, as I mentioned. Oh, actually, Langford's down a bit from him, 51. I think he was in the 40s there for a while, so they seemed closer. And that's still pretty close, 37 to 51. But do you believe that? Do you think, because again, we have not seen it yet, he's been a 247 career guy with 38 homers and 41 steals and 1,130 plate appearances for Wyatt Langford. Is he somebody you think can be like a true talent 275 guy? Because that's how he's been pitched to me at maturation. He's supposed to be 275, 30, 15 type of guy. That's what I've been hearing about Langford, and we have not quite seen that yet.
I think that was largely influenced by just how he dominated the minor leagues so quickly in 2023.
It was unreal in that small sample. It was
I
so good, though.
I don't necessarily, at least from what I've seen in the majors, I don't necessarily believe that he's a 275 guy. I think he's still more like a 260, 250-ish kind of guy. Now, I also want to say, like, he didn't get a lot of time in the minor leagues. So, like, and he's only 24 years old, like, just turned 24 in November. There's still growth potential there, right? And so, like, I don't want to, like, be one of those people who be like, well, no, this is who he is forever. But I do think that maybe people overrated from some of the, from that massive tear through the minors that, like, hey, this is a guy with like a 60 grade hit tool. And I don't think that is the case. I don't think he's going to be ever a guy who like strikes out 30% of the time and hits like 230. But I think he will probably bounce between like a 250, 260-ish type of batting average most of his career, unless he makes some changes.
Yeah, his prospect report, the last one we got, he was a 2024 graduate from Eric, had a 40 present, 55 future for the hit.
Yeah.
But when you're 40 present, when you're that far away, that's him showing like it's not a guarantee to come through.
Yeah.
And that goes to your point about maybe that part's not coming through. But he also had 70 potential power, 70 raw with 70 game potential. So maybe Wyatt Langford is just another James Wood as opposed to a different flavor. If you don't believe that big average is coming the way it was projected when he first came through, then again, maybe they're just kind of the same guy and you just get a cheaper version of him at pick 51. Because at that point, maybe he doesn't have the 50 home run potential you see next year. But if
I don't know if he's ever a 50 homer potential guy. I think we're looking at a guy who is more of like a 30-30 threat, as opposed to being like a 40-20 guy, which both are fine. Like there's nothing.
Of course, I'll take 30-30 all day.
You're 30-30, 260. You're gonna be laughing your way to the bank, even if pick 50. So, but I think Wood has more usable power in that bat, and I think he is more intentful with that power as well. Like James Wood is trying to crush the ball, whereas Wyatt Langford, I do think he is looking to do whatever is best for the team in that moment. That's not always swinging for the fences.
No, I mean Wood's an 80. Wood's an 80 on the power scale for sure. But again, Langford got 70 raw, and then 70 future potential game that maybe we haven't tapped into yet. Even if he's 30-30 though. 250, 30-30. Well, then why isn't he just going right next? I guess I just don't understand the separation here. Why don't they just go right by? What is different? Overall value that I would spend an extra round pick on Wood over Langford. Langford has a better team, which is a soft factor, but it's part of the tiebreaker on the runs and ribbies. Okay, I mean, I'll cop to that. Easier division for Langford.
Langford's also dealt with a few injuries, nothing like major. I think there are some reasons. I honestly think that they probably should be closer together. I do have Wood, I think, a little bit higher in my ranks. I'd have to double check, but Wood or Langford's probably going a few picks too late. But maybe he should be going closer to his min pick as opposed to at 52.
Yeah, that'd be 42, and then that's 37, 40. I just think they should be going literally. They are going to next to each other at outfield.
Yeah.
They are the 10 and 11 outfielders. But I really think it could be like a 37-38 type thing. I'm quibbling a little bit. I understand.
I've
come around on Langford, by the way, because I was a little soft on him. And I think last year was a step, even though it doesn't look like a huge one on paper.
No, I think it for sure was a step. And you do look at the underlying metrics, and they are really, really intriguing with a guy who, I have the StatCast up right now. I mean, it's pretty damn
still
red.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty damn red. And then the underlying you're on deck.
I'm on deck.
The underlying zone contact skills are much better than James Wood. So I think you could actually make the argument that Langford should be going ahead. I think we just saw actually more from Wood last year is where the difference is. But as pitchers move up, and like we said, this is the time of year where pitchers start falling, right, or start getting hurt.
Right, we've already seen a ton.
Yeah, the other pitchers will start to move up in relation to that. I could see Wood come down to the Wyatt Langford area, and that'd be good. Really close together. And in that case, I'd be super happy for either.
Absolutely. And again, Wood was better last year. I do grant that. But I think if I'm looking at this year, I got them neck and neck. I like me some Wyatt Langford. Yeah. All right. I forget who it was, but somebody said something either in a comment or on Twitter one of the times I checked it recently that it does say Jordan over at Baseball Reference. I don't care, folks. I got it directly from the Astros. This was a long time ago. It's Jordan. Just like it's Jimmy Garcia or Jimmy. But it's Jordan, okay? Jordan Alvarez. 15 game eligible in the outfield, so that's more than just the fiver. There's plenty of leagues that use 10.
Yahoo. All Yahoo.
So, you can put them in the outfield there. You shouldn't gain in-season eligibility if they're smart. You know,
I think they've
I know we
said
would like
he's,
to.
he's going to
I
primarily
know.
be a DH.
And they should stick to that. I know we'd like him to gain it, but if you like Alvarez on the field, you should have 150 at DH if he can stay healthy for $150. So let's use him as a util only here. Let's look for the purposes of NFBC, and then we can expand it out for the Yahoo folks. It was a washout season last year, Justin. And as you can see on the StatCast that you're showing, they're all a little bit faded to show that it was still great, but he didn't have enough sample to really push.
Not
But
qualified, yeah.
he was still smacking the absolute piss out of the ball. 28 years old with knees that are 48. Should he really be going over your Schwarbers, your Rookers, like the guys that do the same thing he does? Like, are you still paying for him?
What's his ADP, you said?
Alvarez is... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was going over Schwarber. I'm sorry. Schwarber's higher. He's down to 45. So the market has corrected on Alvarez. Yeah. My bad on that one. I thought he was much higher. So he's actually in between the two, which I have no problem with. Yep, I amend that. I'm so sorry.
I really... Now, so for me, it really depends on depth of league, right? In a 15-team league, I'm going to be much less likely to take a shot on, especially NFBC, if we're talking NFBC, like there's no IL.
Right.
I don't know that
I have a hard time.
I have a hard time doing that. I don't have a problem with people doing it. I just don't know if it's going to be for me. Now, if we're talking a 10 or a 12 team Yahoo league or 10 or a 12 team ESPN league where I've got IL spots, I'm doing that all day long because the upside is so great.
Yeah.
That like it is just too good to pass up. I mean, you look at these StatCast numbers, and they for those who aren't like on his StatCast page or watching along, it is red to the max in just about every single category. And
yeah,
like
it's still gorgeous. Like
it's beautiful. Like I mean,
his
like,
skills are there.
The problem is playing time. You know, so you made a comment about like if he plays 150 games, he's never played 100.
I know I shouldn't have said that high.
Yeah.
I should have said $130 because you take $130 at pick 44 from Alvarez.
Yeah.
All day long, but that's where you really should be living and expecting at most. You put him down for 500 and 525 plate appearances. Anything else you get is a benefit. You're still going to get 30-90 out of that, and that might be a challenge. I grant that because last year was a washout. 147, 114, the games played 2 years before that. But he's just so damn talented. And he does bring the batting average that Schwarber doesn't. Now, if everyone was guaranteed, say, a minimum of 130 games, I would take Alvarez over Schwarber for sure. Yeah. Would you as well? Okay, just making sure that we would in that fake universe where we could limit injuries. Unfortunately, we don't live in that universe, which could also be a problem for the next guy. Byron Buxton. It wasn't a problem last year, Justin. It finally happened. We finally got the big Buxton season. He played 126 games. That is a big Buxton season. His biggest ever at 542 plate appearances. Second time over 500 plate appearances since 2017. We know the deal, right? If you ever could give me 500 plus plate appearances, I'm going to get a banger season. Well, that came to fruition. 35-24 last year. 24 for 24, I might add. Perfect on the bases. 264 average. He was great. Can you buy back, though? Are you afraid that we're going right back down to sub 100 games?
No way. I just like it. I'm not buying a 32-year-old Byron Buxton.
It's terrifying. On an upswing in price? Now he's at pick 88 or 86?
Yeah. I just can't do it. Like,
I can't either.
And I understand that a lot of people will, and I could be wrong. Like, he went 35-24 in 126 games last year. Like, he didn't even need $150 in terms of games to make Byron Buxton a stud.
He was unreal. He was truly unreal last year.
I just have concerns that at 32 that he's going to, like, all of a sudden become a bastion of health. And then you add in the fact, like, the Twins kind of suck around him.
Right. Totally fair concern.
Like, he went 35-24 with 83 RBIs.
That's so embarrassing. Part of that's being leadoff, but part of that's just their suckiness.
Still, though, like, they're just bad.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Like, you know, like the bat right now has him for 75-76 in terms of runs and RBIs, like with 28 home runs and 121 games played. Like, I don't know that
I'm rooting for him.
It's not necessarily a bad price.
No,
the problem is
it's fine.
This Buxton is one of these guys that like you're not really like you'll project 120 games. Mostly because like the range of outcomes is like 140 games to 7 games.
Right.
Like, and like it's the 7 games that's scare me. Like it's the type of season for Byron Buxton that like we saw in 2021 or 2022 or 2023 where he played under 100 games. I'm not
If
willing.
I can be a little fair on those,
Yeah.
19, 28, and 17 homers
I
still.
get it. I totally get it. But in
Still got some
2022 and
juice.
2023, he hit
Terrible batting
224
average. Right.
207.
Terrible batting average.
Now, I wouldn't project him to hit the terrible batting average again. I'm not projecting him to repeat what he did, last 2 seasons. But I just, he's such a hard guy to project, and I stay away from these kind of profiles.
Really difficult. I'm not completely staying away, but I do have a hard time buying the upswing on a player like this who has so consistently gotten hurt on the one time he stayed healthy in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, take out 2020, call it 7, in the last 7 seasons. So I probably will end up skipping, but God, I hope he does well again. I like Byron Buxton. I like watching him do well. All right, let's go to Group 3 here, and we'll start with Randy Arozarena, a guy that this show has liked for the last several years, as he's just, a high-end accumulator, right? We get him because we know he's going to be playing every day. He seems to care about going 20-20 or 25-25 as it were last year. He actually went 27-31 if we want to be exact here. But remember, a couple years ago, he had to have a huge September to get to his 2020. He now has 5 straight years of at least 2020, which includes a pair of 2030 seasons. Randy Arozarena has a little bit of a fluctuating batting average like some of these other guys we've talked about. Similar reasons as well. 238, 219, 254 the last 3 years. 31 years old. He's still really, really freaking good, though. I think didn't he start off horribly last year and rally? Do I have that trajectory right on Arozarena?
Sounds about right, but
oh no, it was the other way. Sorry,
right.
he slowed down. He was 820 early and then 679 in the second half. I thought he was better there. He was good in July, and then it was August and September where he cooled. But he was still giving you counting categories: 6 homers and 11 steals in those final 2 months. He does have some worrying skills. As you're bringing up the Statcast profile here, we see some red, but those are all kind of the same. Average exit velo, barrel, and hard hit. Those all say the same thing. The rest of it's kind of icy, Justin. Do we have some concerns for our boy Arozarena then going at pick 104?
I mean, Arozarena has, in spite of the fact like he had that amazing playoff run in St. Louis where he just seemed to hit everything, he's never actually been like a very good...
In Tampa Bay. That was with Tampa Bay.
Oh, sorry, Tampa Bay. Sorry. He's never been like a really good contact hitter. Like,
right.
He's like... He's not a good zone contact guy. Like the best zone contact of his career was 80%. Everything else has been below that. And it's gotten progressively worse since that 2022 season where he had an 80% zone contact rate. So I think Arozarena is always going to be a guy who strikes out. He's always going to be a guy whose batting average is really dependent on BABIP and things like that. And so I think you have to project him for like a 230 and then hope to get something else. But he's also been a 2020 guy virtually every year of his career.
5 straight.
5 straight years of 2020 production. Being in Seattle didn't hurt him in that regard. He scored 95 runs last year. Last year was,
he was
the
awesome.
best year, it was the best year of his career. 27 homers, 31 stolen bases, in an offensive environment where a lot of people struggle. So you just have to kind of deal with a batting average problem. And this is the problem with outfield is deep, but like there are massive drops in value because we just went from like a guy in, Yordan Alvarez who like when healthy is just an absolute stud to Arozarena who's like, hey, he's really good, but he's got a massive red flag.
Especially if he hits 219 again, which he did in 2024.
I mean, you look at the position as a whole and like, especially now with Corbin Carroll hurt, all of a sudden, like almost every single player outside of like the top 2 in Aaron Judge and Juan Soto have massive red flags somewhere. I guess Julio Rodriguez doesn't, but like everybody else has some sort of red flag. So I understand like why Arozarena is going this high. You just have to be smart about about your roster construction around him.
And again, I reiterated it with whoever we said earlier with the Schwarber. It's all about making that plan. And that's why I hit that so hard with these average things. If you know you're going to take some of these outlier averages, having the exact plan makes sense. Then you're comfortably taking an Arozarena because you either built the foundation early or you know later in the draft coming up after pick 100 there that you got some average guys that you're going to go for there to supplement him. He could drop a 250 for you. That's not out of the realm, but you got to project 230 like you said for a Arozarena with your 2020 and go from there.
I think Arozarena and Duran are quietly, and Duran's who we're talking about next, and why I'm bringing him up, are quietly becoming like Marcus Simeon-esque players, where like, hey, maybe on a per plate appearance basis they're not the best, but they log so many damn plate appearances.
They just pile it up. Yep.
They just compile it up, and I think they get overlooked in fantasy sometimes because they're not these guys with one flashy tool the way, James Wood or Kyle Schwarber, might have. Like, these guys will just produce nonstop for you.
Yeah, we've seen that with Jarren Duran, who we will talk about next here. 735 and 696 plate appearances the last 2 years have helped him put up nice seasons, 21-34, down to 16-24 last year, but because he had so much volume and still a competent 256 average, nothing too flashy there. It does underscore, his struggles are underscored by the 86 runs and 84 ribbies because he did get so many plate appearances. He was at 111 and 75 the year before. Interesting that his ribbies went up. Maybe he moved down in the lineup then. But yeah, his runs went way down from 111 to 86 with Jarren Duran. So now we saw the amazing breakout year, the kind of fall back to still a good player but not God tier. Third year now of kind of being a premium pick. Where do we go this year with Duran? You expect more of the same accumulation, but is it going to be closer to 24 or 25? Because those were pretty different.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Jarren Duran is a really, really special player. And I do think that there is a monster season potential for Duran at some point in his career. We know he's got a lot of speed.
More monster than 24?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would be huge because he went 21-34 with 14 triples and 48 doubles, both of which led baseball. They're not fantasy relevant. But...
So I've got the StatCast up, and what I think a lot of people are going to focus on is how much blue. And it's not necessarily blue, but kind of like middle of the road blue there is. But when we kind of dig deeper into like, hey, why has he got a 56? He's got an 87 percentile average exit velocity and 86 percentile bat speed and 71 percentile hard hit percentage. But then why is his barrel percentage at 56%? You start to kind of dig into it, and it's this number here that I'm trying to look. It's the launch angle isn't very high, but he raised it last. So the reason he doesn't barrel is because it's not because he doesn't hit the ball hard. It's because he doesn't lift it quite enough. But he started to a little bit more last year, and I think that is the thing we need to kind of pay attention to a little bit on a guy like Jarren Duran is, yes, he's not super young in terms of his age, but he is a little bit young in terms of like, hey, like having those full-time plate appearances. Last year was only the second time where he was a full-time player in Boston. I think there is a world in which Jarren Duran surprises people and all of a sudden really goes off. And I do think that the hit tool is a little bit better than people kind of give him credit for. You look at, those prospect grades from back in 2021, he's like 45, 55 hit. I think he's probably closer to like a 50, 60 kind of hit kind of guy. I just love the underlying skills on Duran. I'm interested to see, like, does he get moved out of Boston, and what does that do at some point? Because I know there has been.
Well, there was some talk about that before they got a third baseman. Do you think they would still be doing that now that they got Durbin to play in the infield?
They still have kind of a logjam out in the outfield, still, because you've got Wilyer Abreu, you've got Roman Anthony, who's now a full-time, player up, Cedane Rafaela. Duran is projected to be their DH.
That's crazy.
They've now moved Christian Campbell to the outfield. Like, like they're going to, and they paid Christian Campbell. So, they're going to have to get him up at some point because they've invested money in the guy. I do think that Duran gets moved at some point.
Before the season, though?
Houston would look mighty fine with Jared.
What are they going to give, though? They don't have anything left.
Well, they've got a lot of pitching depth.
Does Boston need pitching? They have pitching depth.
I mean, Boston doesn't necessarily need anything at this point.
That's why it becomes
They've got
difficult.
Paredes and a prospect.
Then Boxmeyer.
Yeah,
I don't know if they want to do that. I don't know if they want to do that. They're in an enviable position. I will agree with you there. That's what we're reaching here with Boston.
And they have so much talent in the minors.
Yes, they're. I mean, if they play it right, they're about to explode here. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Duran. But yes, he does have an intriguing profile there. That if we can see more pop to go with the great speed, that could be massive. And if he does get moved to a park that might tailor to a little bit more pop, that could be the move
It's
too.
so interesting that like they've got all this talent that we're talking about, and then still Yoshida on the bench,
just chilling on the bench. Who would be in the lineup for like a ton of teams, and he can't crack this one.
Yep.
All right, George Springer, pick 107, had a colossal season last year. Out of nowhere, man. I'm gonna say out of nowhere. The last two seasons before that looked like the graceful-ish decline of somebody who had over a decade on their ledger. Okay, 102, 91 OPS pluses, 21-20, and then 19-16 were the homer steal totals for those. I'm like, okay, he's kind of landing the plane here as a okay good player, but not a stud anymore. Boom, 32-18, 309 from George Springer with 106 runs, 84 ribbies, absolutely exploded. You've got the StatCast up. It is absolutely bleeding. He's 36 next year, though. How can we trust this?
I mean, so like if you are a Byron Buxton believer, and
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, like, and you want to like come back at me because you can just be like, look at George Springer. He wasn't a bastion of health, and then all of a sudden, over the last 4 seasons, he's played 133 games or more, at least 583 plate appearances each of those 4 seasons. Like, you can still like prove health later on. Like, I mean, this is unicorn type shit. Like, I mean, just look at this StatCast profile. It's just unreal red,
filthy.
Like just, I mean, I love George Springer. I don't know that he's
drink his bathwater.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to repeat what he did.
So where do we go from here then? Because again, if I give you the averages from the last 2 years, or from 23-24, it was a 240 average and about 20 homers, 18 steals. Is that somewhere where you're bringing him down to, or are you taking the 3-year average, which if I give you that and I add in last year to the mix, now we're at 260, 24, 18. It doesn't move the steals because he had 18 steals last year. So does that sound right for Springer? The elevated one with a 260 average, can he do that? Because if he can do 260, I'll take him at pick 108, man.
I think that is what he can do. Now, I mean, there is obviously batting average risk. We saw it in 2024.
Sure.
Where he hit 220. But I think ultimately, I think he's a guy who's going to hit mid-20s home runs, steal, high teens.
Efficiently, too.
Yeah, high teens, stolen bases. And, like, this is a good lineup. It's all going to be about health. Like, can the 36-year-old stay on the field?
Yep.
But he's shown it the last few years. Like, and they also manage him a little bit, like, to, give him extra days off to kind of keep him healthy.
And DH him a bunch.
I think he can. I think he can do this. And I think the price is a little scared. So
it is. But I mean, look, O'Neal Cruz is
for a reason. Like, he's kind of in this tier of guys who are like,
look at those scare guys right after him.
Yeah. Well, and right before him, Michael Harris, O'Neal Cruz, Joe Adele, Luis Robert. Like, that is a tier of like, you should be afraid of these guys, but they also could be really damn good.
Who would you take the most out of that group? The pick. I don't think the prices are enough different to what?
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's got to be Springer because it ain't Michael fucking Harris. Oh, is it Joe Adele?
It's Joe Adele.
Yeah.
And I love Joe Adele. Like,
it's Joe Adele, and he does happen to be the cheapest of the group too.
And like, and that's not saying anything about Springer. I love Springer too. Like, as like Springer's my dude, and
that's your guy forever.
Literally since like I entered the fantasy industry. Like he, like. I'm pretty sure, like, his rookie year was my like first year podcasting, and I was so big on him then.
Paid off. And he's been incredible. He's had a great career.
It's crazy to think like he is going to be like one of the first guys who like retires from like the first year I podcasted. But
that you fantasied his entire career.
His entire career, like but yeah, I mean, I love George Springer, but yeah, for me, like, and we'll get to Adele here in a little bit. I just love what Adele has done over the last few seasons.
Yeah, I'm really eager to talk about him, and we'll probably end up doing that next episode. But he's going to be a fun guy to discuss. Let's go to Cody Bellinger, who is up at pick 84. Back to the Yankees. Just business as usual here. Anything
Yeah,
to really
about
say?
health.
Yeah.
It's just health. Like, can
Are you
how
okay? Are you
how
okay
much
at that
can he?
price point? Sorry,
Yeah, I'm totally
85.
fine. Yeah, totally fine with it. I know he got ranked at first base, but he shouldn't have because um, he
Did
only
he have
has
any?
seven
Okay, yeah,
games.
very minimal.
Yeah, like he's not going to be eligible anywhere except for like the weirdest of leagues.
And they brought
Uh,
Goldie back, so
like
he
I'm
ain't gonna
not
play there this
banking.
year.
I'm not banking on Bellinger playing 152 games again. I just don't think that is in the cards. But like I think you project him for a buck 35
Yeah,
and
550 plate appearances.
yeah, and some really really good numbers. With that lefty swing in Yankee Stadium. Like I just think he's going to be really really good.
Yep, I got nothing else to add there. I got no problems picking him there. I'm not always taking him, but he is in my considerations in the 80s there with Cody Bellinger. All right, Roman Anthony, I don't know what to make of because I think he's going way too high at pick
He is.
67. I know I just talked about being early to market, ready to jump on guys like when they haven't fully proven themselves. This is a bridge too far for me. At least, James Wood has done something. I grant he's going higher, but he's done something real. We got 303 plate appearances from Roman Anthony, and they were good. 296, 396, 463 with 8 homers, 4 steals. But that ain't enough for pick 67 for me, man. I just can't do it. It's just too little. And I don't know that his fantasy skills are super loud either. That's my biggest question for you is what are we getting in the power speed department in a full year of Roman Anthony?
I mean, he is going too high, but I totally get it. Like I do.
It's a beautiful StatCast profile from the
Look at that.
sample that we got.
I think, but part of the problem with that Statcast profile is, like the launch angle is kind of a problem for him, right? So like he's got a 6.9 degree launch
Nice.
angle, which is kind of nice. And I will say though, like even though the launch angle is low, like the launch angle sweet spot percentage is actually pretty high. So like he does like when he's looking to lift it, like he barrels the ball really really well. So but he doesn't look to lift it a ton, and they're going to be leading him off, so like he's going to be they're being asked to set the table quite a bit. So like I don't think he's a guy who all of a sudden, while Roman Anthony does have legitimate 70 grade power, I don't know that we're going to see that type of power this year. And I do think he is setting people up to be kind of disappointed, even though the skills are really, really good. And I totally understand why people are betting on the come here with Roman Anthony. I just don't know that you're going to get that. And like none of the projection systems buy this kind of massive breakout. Now, I also think projection systems have a really hard time with young guys.
Especially with 300 plate appearances at 22.
Yeah. And I do think there is a world in which we see like a 40-15 kind of year with a really good batting average. Like that is in the range of outcomes
For this year?
For this year. There is legitimate power in this bat. If he raises that launch angle and he decides like, hey, I'm going to like really try to hit for power here, I do think that there is like that kind of upside in the bat. But am I betting on that? Am I betting on it at the price? Roman Anthony currently going as the number 13 outfielder off the board. Like, now
that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. It's just too expensive.
That's awkward. Now I will say, like, he is kind of going in like the top of a tier where you can make the argument that like, hey, there's some really flawed players going behind him. I love Jackson Merrill. And
that's what I was going to bring up. He goes a round later. I'd rather just take him.
I think I would rather just take him too. But like Jackson Merrill really struggled last year, so like I can understand.
It's a rough sophomore campaign.
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? Jaron Duran had some struggles last year too. Riley Green was amazing for a while,
strikeout monster though,
and then really struggled. Byron Buxton health, Cody Bellinger health. Is Tyler Soderstrom legit? We already talked about Randy Rose right now. Like, I get why people are saying like, hey, yeah, Roman Anthony has got this unproven red flag. But like, isn't that the best red flag to have? Is the skills are there, and the only thing we haven't done is seen it yet.
Yeah, it's just such a high pick for not seeing it.
I'm not doing it, but like,
but the skills. I mean, the skills are exquisite. He's a number one overall top prospect type of guy.
Let me put it this way: if Roman Anthony hadn't debuted last year, wouldn't he be going as a top 50 pick? Because like knowing that he's going to be on the roster, because that's what happens.
Yeah, but
with
that
the
was
top
stupid
prospects.
too, which we did that with Wyatt Langford.
But we also did that with Bobby Witt Jr. and with J-Rod.
That's the only one that's worked.
I just said
high.
two.
Okay, but you keep saying them.
But I'm saying, like, I'm not saying it's right. I know
it's just
wouldn't he be?
I'm like I said at the outset of the episode, I'm more open to taking these picks, without a lengthy track record. But he doesn't. I don't see running here.
I'm 100% purely like playing devil's advocate here. Like
I'm not sure he runs, and I'm worried about the batting average too, because Roman Anthony needs an exquisitely high BABIP. He's needed it all the way up, because while he takes 1 million walks, he also strikes out a ton because of those walks. He borders on passivity. Coming up in the minors, definitely looked like there was some passivity in his approach.
Last year too. Like he had a 54% zone swing percentage.
Yeah, and so like I don't know. I think that could be manipulated a bit in his first full year. It's just a full fade for me. You make a compelling case on the guys after him having some concerns. We do bet early on youngsters. This just isn't the one for me, y'all. I think it's a miss.
It's not a full fade for me, but it is an unlikely scenario. Like I just don't see a world in which I end up taking Roman Anthony. I'm not taking him off my board. I'm not saying I'm completely fading him, but I have a really hard time pulling the trigger there.
That's exactly it for me too. I don't know that I can pull that trigger. It was worth mentioning. I took him in a Gladiator.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it now. I took him in a Gladiator with Langford.
So it's so funny because like when the Spencer Schwellenbach news came out, what was the first thing I texted to our group chat of like
nightmare?
I texted like, this is why I don't touch guys.
Oh, for sure.
And then I went and looked at my Gladiators and I was like, oh, I did draft Schwellenbach.
In a Gladiator.
Like the worst.
The one place that your concern about not drafting guys off injuries makes the most sense is where you took them. That's amazing.
I don't even remember. Like
this is my
November.
Yeah, this is my Arizona Fall League roster, and I have Langford and Anthony as my third and fourth picks after Skeens and Yamamoto. I haven't really lost anybody yet. I guess Ronnie Enriquez isn't going to do shit. Troy Melton is like the 12th starter now, but that's all right. Jonah Tong. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
We never talked about that. I know this is an outfield, podcast, but we never pass up an opportunity to like talk pitching.
Of course.
You have to love all the Tigers' moves.
Oh, yeah.
But we both love Troy Melton.
Yeah.
And like
it's okay. It's okay.
He'll get a shot at some point, right?
Exactly. And I always felt he was going to be a 5-month guy. I thought he could break camp in the rotation, and he has enough innings that they could give him the full season. But I think they're going to map it out to where they get some of these older guys early, see what happens, and as they start breaking, as they inevitably will, that's where Melton's going to come in. And so he's a 5.5-month type of guy. I've been drafting him as such. I am not deterred by this. He's probably the 7th guy right now with Olsen cooked. Drew Anderson is next up, the guy from the KBO who's 31 years old. And the Tigers had in their system before, so they have a lot of familiarity with him. And then probably Melton after that. He's the 7th guy. Like that's nothing, y'all. Like, and I don't want to be doom and gloom and like wish anything on my Tigers, but he could be in the rotation by March 15th, right? Like 2 injuries to a rotation, you should almost expect it. I hope I'm not cursing anything, but it's probably gonna fucking happen. So anyway, I still love Melton, and you should still be drafting him, except in leagues with me. Leave him alone. All right, let's get back to our outfielders here. Let's finish off today's episode with this one here. A divisive guy that we've talked about the last few years. Not divisive between us, but just we are against the market on Michael Harris. And we've just not really been interested in paying the premium. Now, credit where it's due. He gets there at the end of the year a lot of times. Not in 24. It was 16 and 10 for the counting categories. But he's basically a 2020 guy beyond that. 19-20. 18-20, the 16-10, and then 20-20 on the dot last year. So he's basically a 20-20 talent, But Justin, noticed that he needed his first 600 plate appearance season to get the 2020. So he kind of volumed his way there. And the average has been on a straight down decline since he broke in for Harris. 297, 293, 264, 249. Again, a guy I've never really been a fantasy fan of. I know you're not either. He goes around pick 108 right there in that group of scary guys with Springer, O'Neill Cruz, Harris, Robert, and Adele. What are you doing with Harris this year?
I mean, he needed a amazing second half.
Yep, he was dead.
The terrible first half. For those who don't know, he had 6 home runs in the first half with a 210 batting average. And then the second half,
He was getting cut.
Yeah, 299. And so this is the problem with the Michael Harris, the Pete Crow Armstrong, the O'Neill Cruz plate approach, is you will have these stretches. And again, I say this all the time, but I'm going to keep reiterating it with these type of players. If you play in head-to-head leagues, don't draft Michael Harris. Don't. He's going to ruin, yes, he was great in the end of the season.
Right.
But you probably weren't in the playoffs if you held on to Michael Harris, through the first half. And then someone else got the goodness at the end.
Yeah.
He
had a 268 OBP last year, Harris did. Justin.
Well, and he also hit 237 in September. So, whoever actually picked him up for the playoffs,
yeesh, they might have gotten counting categories, but not average.
Yeah, they probably ate that. No, he had 3 home runs in September, so it wasn't even like you got. I mean, he was really carried by August. He had 8 home runs in August.
Yeah, so that's maybe even the August picker-uppers should have jumped off the train in September. Yeah. But that goes to the point then, right? He had an amazing second half, and it wasn't even fully sustained. It was 2 months, July and August, and then right back into the shitter again because he does this up and down EKG type of thing. That's what that's called, right? An EKG?
Yeah.
The heart monitor thing. Mm-hmm. So that's Harris in a nutshell. It's O'Neill Cruz in a nutshell who goes right by him. And these other guys, Robert can do that. Adele, your boy, can do that sometimes. Now, last year, he avoided that more. He tightened his bands on volatility. But this is why we fade Harris. And he's got a min of 89. People still take him inside the top 100. I assume you're going to continue fading him at pick 108, 109, right?
Yeah, I think this is still too high.
It's just tough to feel confident, especially because you like Adele 20 picks later. You're just going to take your boy Adele. Yeah, and I'm going to wait even a little bit longer and take somebody like I would take Adele too, by the way, but I would also take Rafaela. I don't need to get in a million guys, but I'd rather just wait for Marcy, who goes 40 picks later.
Yeah, I think this is the problem with the outfield pool, though, right? Because now we're not even to outside the top 25 outfielders, and in terms of ADP.
Yeah,
Michael Harris is the 22nd outfielder, and that includes obviously guys who have, or actually just one guy who has multi-positional eligibility before him in the ADP.
Yeah, just Soderstrom, right? Not a lot of multi-eligible outfielders. That's a sneaky thing. They won't
get
be
more later, but not early. The strength of the position is really up top. It is and it's deep, but it's deep with a lot of flawed guys. And so I can, I guess, understand a little bit why Michael Harris II is up here, but I would want him outside, past Jacob Marcy, in that 150 range.
I don't think we're getting a discount for the struggles last year. A representative one.
What's the real difference between Michael Harris and Lawrence Butler going
nothing
at
50 picks? Yeah, give me Butler all day. I'll rebuy on Dylan Cruz.
Give me Brent Doyle.
Yep. Cruz and Doyle are 165. Yeah. Give me both of them straight up against Harris, let alone 60 picks cheaper.
Yeah, I
don't get it. I really don't.
I know he just perpetually turns out 2020 seasons. Though not really.
Well,
2024
right, and in fact he's only done it once, the 2020 season for Harris.
Last year. Yeah.
Again, he's around it. 1920, 1820, 1610. He's a 2020 talent. I will give him that. If he 600 plate appearances,
swing outside the effing zone,
yes.
This is a guy who needs LASIK or something, because it really is
3% walk last year. 2.5 to be honest. I don't do the decimals, but just to drive home the point, a 2.5% walk rate is so bad, Justin. Not that 3 is any better, but it was rough for Harris.
It was the second worst O swing in all of baseball.
You can't do that.
It just
He's gotta get better there.
He's got like of the guys who are like in the top 8 in terms of like bad O swings. He actually has pretty close to by far the best zone contact rate. Like he is a good in zone hitter. When he swings at pitches inside the zone, like he makes contact.
Damage.
He makes contact. The problem is he swings so much outside the zone. Why are pitchers going to throw it at him?
That's exactly it.
Like,
why would you give Harris anything to hit?
And that's literally what happened, right? And we've talked about zone percentage, like 1%, like is a huge amount in terms of like movement in someone's zone percentage for a pitcher or a hitter. And like they just like dropped his zone percentage by 2%. They just said like, hey, we're not going to throw it to you in the zone.
Chase it, buddy.
Because we believe
they know you will.
We know you're Javi Baez reincarnated, and you're going to swing outside of the zone.
And yeah, they're gonna. So I think it will be incumbent upon Harris to improve. Like, I don't know that you should make too many. Exactly. I don't think you should make excuses for last year and say, oh well, he rebounded for those 2 months. He's fine. I think that the league is going to continue to exploit him until he makes a change.
Yeah.
I'm not drafting him here at all.
I wonder if like during those 2 months, I'm going to look it up as I talk. Like during those 2 months, did he show better plate discipline? Like,
or did he just run like a crazy BABIP?
Or did he just run it? Because it was July to August. So looking up July to August and looking up the plate discipline numbers. No, he just
ran hot.
42% O swing.
Yep.
A 340 BABIP.
I get that he's 25, so he's in a growth stage where he could change, but being young alone does not make you change or give you inherent upside. As Justin just pointed out, he's gotten worse every year. His skills are degrading. I just don't see the case with Michael Harris here, folks.
And he's got a similar like plus and problem that are all wrapped up into one for Michael Harris. It's similar to Pete Crow Armstrong, is that they're both premium defensive players, which means even when they're struggling, they're going to be on the field. So
they get to play through their shit.
Like, that is great because you're going to still get the plate appearances, but it's bad because if you set it and forget these guys,
yes, they'll hammer you,
and you don't know when the bad streaks are coming or the hot streaks are coming, so it's really hard to predict. Like I
said, Harris was getting cut last year, and you understood why people even in
and I told people like I do an article at Fantasy Pros every week. Like it's a buy low, sell high. Like, and I was saying like go trade for him. Like he's so low, he's got to come back up.
Well, especially if you can get him for nothing.
Yeah, get him for nothing, right? Like, like these.
I'd always pick him up off the wire. I just didn't draft him.
Yeah, I would absolutely pick him up off the wire. But yeah, there's no way I'm drafting Michael Harris.
Be careful with Michael Harris. Again, we named 4 or 5 guys going 30, 40, 60 picks later that are the same type substance. That's my biggest issue with him right now is price point. If he was 30, 40 picks cheaper, put him in that same group, and I could take him with a Marcy in that area, but not 40 picks earlier.
Honestly, if he was going pick 170, I would be all over it.
Yeah, pick 100. Even 140. Even if you gave me 40 picks, put him with Paez and Marcy. I still would take those two over him because I happen to like those two,
and
it would make a lot more sense.
I would still take Brendan Doyle.
Yes, Law Dog, Doyle, again, we're on those guys.
I don't know if I'm on Law Dog this year, but
I would take Law Dog over Harris.
I don't think there's much difference in Lawrence Butler and Michael Harris.
Yeah, and that's our general point here. If you like Harris, just wait for the cheaper version of him.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. There's 2 more groups. We'll get in. Let's do 3 groups on Monday so that we aren't doing too many tiers here. And then
probably be just me and you because Joe I think has his auction,
and he'll be doing that starting in the evening on the website, and he'll he's doing live on Rotographs, right?
Yeah. I've got it already set up for him. It is. Let me double check the time and stuff. 3 p.m. my time. So
sweet. So that's gonna be 6 his time, 5 my time.
Yeah, I believe that is correct.
5 Central, 6 Eastern.
It'll be on Fangraphs. It'll also stream to this YouTube channel. Perfect. He's gonna have lots of guests, including I'm sure you and I will pop in there at times as well. So if you want to watch a live auction, Joe is going to be doing that. So definitely check that out.
So yeah, Justin and I will be back Monday to talk more outfielders, and then the 3 of us back Thursday, and you'll be with Jason on Sunday talking news and notes on everything. All right, have a good weekend. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Take it easy.